Hey, I'm Tayden. I'm a senior at Mountain View High School, and you're listening to the West Ada Podcast.
But overall, the district has just grown into an incredible institution. I mean, to see it when I first came, and these small little elementary schools, and not very many of them. And during the time that I was the superintendent, there were 13 new schools built.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
13.
How many balls were you juggling? I mean, I can't
A lot.
imagine.
A lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of the West Ada Podcast. I can't believe we're on the cusp of another school year, Katie.
I know, just like that. It keeps coming around.
Well, yeah, school starts Wednesday, and 75 years. This year's theme, everyone, is 75 years of learning, growing, and leading. And to celebrate that fact, we are bringing back, a legend in West Ada School District, Christine Donnell.
Christine Donnell. You've probably heard of Christine Donnell School of the Arts.
Yeah,
It's one of our art-focused elementary schools. But if there's a role in West Ada in the education world, she served in it.
Yeah, it's very cool. She was a part of West Ada Schools for 34 years. Started as a teacher at Meridian Elementary, and then most of you will know that she was the superintendent from like 98 to 2004. So to your point, she has been there. Yeah. She has done that, and if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a leader in this district, to be able to hear her stories is pretty darn
special.
Cool.
It was certainly special for me, having worked in education and known of and heard of her for so many years, and her heart for teaching and her love for kids and just really developing humans is so special, and what a great person to have had at the helm for so long.
Well, it shines through, and we are so excited that you are here for Season 3. No better way to kick it off. Here is that conversation.
Christine, it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's just, you probably don't want to hear this, but you are a legend in West Ada education. And it's just, is just a joy to have you and kind of pick your brain as we celebrate our 75 years of West Ada, learning, growing, leading.
Yes, it's a huge 75-year celebration. And anyway, it is very nice to have you, Christine.
Great. Well, I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be asked.
Well, honestly. It's great to have you here. Well, listen, I know, you spent 34 years in West Ada. Just starting off on a 30,000-foot level, what are your thoughts over the course of 34 years? You had to have had some pretty cool moments. What jumps to mind?
Well, it was a lifetime.
Sure.
When you think about, 34 years, and you don't really think about that it comes and goes quickly.
Oh, yeah.
It truly does.
Yeah.
But, I grew up there. I started when I was really pretty young, and then I just aged. And, and when you age, you do grow up, and you think and behave a bit different than when you were younger. But it was actually just a remarkable career.
Now, you started out in West Ada as a teacher.
I did.
What did you teach?
First grade.
First grade. Oh, bless you. I subbed in first grade one time. I had a 1-week assignment in first grade and thought I was going to die. I was so tired every day when I got home. I can't imagine doing that for years.
That's a lot. I
did. I loved them. I just loved them.
So you taught first grade. What school were you at?
Well, when I came to West Ada, I was at Meridian Elementary.
Oh, wow.
That was, and the funny story is that I interviewed with Lowell Scott, who was the superintendent.
Oh, not the school Lowell Scott, the person.
The person.
The person, Lowell Scott,
And why he was interviewing me, I'm not quite sure, because, I'm sure he had an assistant during that time, not that I even can remember, but, he talked about the growth, which I know we'll talk about. That's going to be, a big issue.
Sure.
But so he talked about that for a while, and then he just turned to me and he just said, well, do you want to teach first grade at Meridian Elementary, or do you want to teach second grade at Star? And I looked at him. I had not filled out an application, nothing.
Oh, my goodness.
Nothing. And I said to him, well, I have been teaching first grade, so I would like to teach first grade. He said, fine.
Oh, gee.
That's it.
You're hired.
Let's do this.
Yeah, he didn't even say you're hired, I don't think. He said,
my goodness.
I think he might have said, I'll take you over and introduce you to the principal.
Let's do this.
He
Oh my gosh.
must have seen future superintendent in your eyes.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I know that he knew my dad. Mm-hmm. He knew who he was. He wasn't friends or, real good friends or anything, but he knew that he was my father. And I think that might have had a little bit of influence.
It's a great know who, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, tell us about your dad. It wasn't an accident that you quote unquote fell into education. No. Tell us about your dad and how he played a role in what you became as a teacher and administrator.
I'd love to. And of course he's gone.
Oh,
and,
sure. Yeah.
But I really wanted to become a teacher way before I even knew what my dad did.
Oh.
I would put my dolls all in little chairs, in the playroom that we had, and then I would proceed to just teach. And of course, they were just dolls. But then, as I grew, as we moved actually from Eastern Idaho, then moved to Fruitland, where he was the superintendent.
Right.
Then I watched him. I knew that he was a teacher before that, and that he was a building principal prior to that. Okay. But then he became the superintendent. And so by then I was older, I was having children, and I just thought that he was just the very best of anything. I thought he, could run the world.
Yeah.
But as you should.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But I did finally get a certificate that I could teach, which is, people don't really even know what a credential is. That is a provisional, is what it was called.
Okay.
Provisional.
Okay.
You didn't have your degree. They needed teachers. That was the whole thing. So he, he had gone to the superintendency. And so when I got that provisional, I thought that I could get a job.
Yeah.
And so I asked and he said, no, I can't hire you. And that's exactly right. He could not hire me. And it made sense. And I said, well, Dad. And he said, nope, I can't. And he said, I might have, I think I could get away with you being a teacher's aide and working as a secretary in the elementary school.
Okay. Yeah.
So my first job in Fruitland was really as a secretary for the principal at the elementary and a teacher's aide for a special education teacher.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I did until he left.
Okay.
And then he went to the State Department, and then I was able to get hired, finally.
Get him out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So do you have that breakdown in your mind of how many years you taught, and then when you went into into administration? So you came to West Ada, and you were a first grade.
1970, yeah.
Oh, 1970.
1970 was her first year.
1970 is when I came, and I had taught 2 years prior to that.
Okay.
And so I had already taught, a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And then I became an administrator. I don't even remember the year that I did.
But you taught for a while, though.
I did. I taught at Meridian Elementary, and then I transferred out to Lake Hazel. They had opened up team teaching, and that was kind of the big thing at the time. So I had a teacher that I'd gotten to know there at Meridian Elementary, and we just wanted to teach together.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in a big room. So, you just were together and you divided the kids. And so we taught there. And then Lake Hazel Primary, the growth was enough that then they opened up another school. Mm-hmm. And so Lake Hazel Primary, and we were first grade teachers, so we went there.
That's cool.
And then I moved to Joplin, and I taught at Joplin.
Okay. Well, and so you were in so many different roles, Christine, whether teacher, principal, assistant. How did each of those, and I don't even know, this is kind of a hard question, but each of those roles, so different in education, how did each of those roles shape you and help you kind of become who you were? What would you say to that?
Well, the first thing I'd say is that I was quite observant. I just watched how things operated. Yeah. I loved teaching. I loved being a teacher. I loved the children, all of that. But I also paid attention to what the ones that were running the school, sort of.
Oh, sure.
And at one point, I said to my dad, because we'd talk a bit. And I said, I can be a better superintendent than the one I had. I don't even remember which one that was. But
Sure,
I can be a
sure.
better. He said, oh yeah, like, And I said, so I went back to school and got my master's degree so that I could be a principal.
So that you could open those doors. Sure,
Yes,
sure,
that's
sure,
right.
sure.
So
Yeah.
then I was hired to be a principal.
And where was that? Where were you a
That
principal?
was Macmillan.
At Macmillan.
Yes.
So not too far of a distance from Joplin over to Macmillan.
That's right. It was close, and I was there for 8 years as the building principal. Loved every minute of it. I did. And then from there I went to Lowell Scott as the principal. So, and I can still remember the superintendent calling me at 10 o'clock that night saying, "Do you like older kids?" And I said, "Bob, I like all kids." And he said, "Well, what would you think about being the principal at Lowell Scott?" I said, "Well, can I think about it?" And he said, "Till tomorrow morning."
Gave you all kinds of time.
About 10 o'clock. And
Holy
I said,
moly.
So I said, "Okay, I'll think about it." And so he called me back, and I became the principal at Lowell Scott, and I loved that.
You did. See, I always think people who work in middle school are amazing
Oh my gosh.
angels.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Everybody said, "Oh, you'll like it. You'll like those 6th graders and 7th graders, but the 8th graders and the 8th graders were the ones I liked the best."
Oh, how funny.
Now
How
I
funny.
better not say that because the 6th and 5th and 7th, but the 8th graders. And particularly the boys. I would go in because they're kind of obnoxious and a little rowdy. And so
I have no idea what that's about. I never did rowdy. Come on, Christine. Yeah.
I have 3 teenage sons. Let's talk about this.
you do know. So I would go in and sit with them at lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Because here was the principal coming in and sitting with these 8th grade boys. And I got to know him.
Yeah, what a cool way to build trust.
Oh, it was. I sat there
yeah.
and we talked and I asked him questions and then when I was out in the hall they'd say, "Hi." So
we know you.
Yeah, exactly. So that was wonderful.
Well, one of the things that's interesting to me, West Ada is such a big organization now. I think we had like 98 new teachers last year. And so there's always this influx of people. It's their very first time teaching. What would you say to those very first year teachers? What would you say to encourage them and to be like, hey, you're in the right place? What would you say to those folks?
Well, I did say a lot to new teachers. And the first thing that I would say is don't be scared. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid of what you're going to be doing because you're going to love every minute of it. And this is what your passion was, or you wouldn't be here today.
Right.
You wouldn't be in this field. And the biggest thing is that we really, or I should say I did, concentrated on the fact that they weren't in there because they liked to teach history or that they had a wonderful government teacher. So that's why they went into the field to be a government teacher, because that isn't what makes a good teacher. What makes a good teacher is the ones that care about what the students are learning.
Relationships.
Not the topic.
Yeah.
But just that they're learning whatever it happens to be. And it's not the teacher's job to decide for them what that is.
Well, it's that disposition, that heart of a teacher that's so hard to measure, but it's just special when you find it.
It is. When I interviewed, which I did when I went to the district office after Lowell Scott, when I was in personnel, we interviewed a lot of teachers, and there were certain things we had to hear. And it had been a training that I went through. And so so when you ask somebody why they wanted to become a teacher, now see, this should help a whole lot of teachers that might be listening to this podcast. But the thing you wanted to hear was because I want to make a difference in the life of a child. That make a difference in what that boy or girl want. Not, I just love history because I had the best history teacher. As soon as they said that, I would just mark a no. No, not that they wouldn't be hired possibly, but that just didn't give them any
extra
That
points.
wasn't
any
the
extra
connection.
points.
Sure,
Yeah, I wanted
sure.
to hear them say that they wanted to make a difference in the life of a child in their learning.
Because that's what's going to keep you going on the hard days.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, because there'll be hard days, sure.
There- yeah.
Of course.
Oh, there
of
are always
course.
hard days.
Yep.
Well, I leadership kind of always fascinates me. I mean, you were a leader for a lot of years. What are some of the decisions or initiatives that you started that you're like, Holly, I'm proud of that day, or I'm proud. Anything that stands out in your mind in terms of those kind of stories?
There were some good times. There really truly was. I can say that the probably the biggest challenges we had was the growth.
Oh, sure.
And because of the growth, the facilities. And so we were always talking, and I say we, meaning the board and myself and my staff, we were always talking about how we could accommodate the number of children.
Oh, gosh.
And so, and it required generally, on more times than not, it required that that they needed, we needed to pass a bond. So that was one of the real big challenges.
Oh, I'm sure.
Was the bonds. Yeah. But initiatives, we really, we were the first district in the state to have a magnet school. That was in response to the fact that charter schools were cropping up. And that there were these charter schools, and of course that took students and money out of the districts.
Sure.
And so we had to really recognize that. We couldn't ignore it. And so magnet schools were really a great way to go. And I can thank the staff that I had in curriculum, my office staff. You're never a leader unless you have really good people that work with you.
Absolutely.
This school year, West Ada is celebrating 75 years of learning, growing, and leading. We would love to hear your stories. If you're watching on YouTube, scan the QR code to share your memories, or join our Facebook group, West Ada Stories, 75 Years of Community and Impact.
Now, Christine, you mentioned starting kind of the magnet program of our schools, and my boys have been, my oldest will be a senior this year. And so I recall those early days trying to decide which school, where do we live. And at the time we were by Paramount Elementary, and they had a literacy magnet program. I recall that. And they ended up going to school at Galileo for science, technology, engineering, math, all that good stuff. So those are fun initiatives that I can say as a parent, thank you for starting that.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing those kinds of changes and being, you really need to be proactive to kind of stay ahead. And, seeing that charter schools were coming and staying competitive and that kind of thing. Seeing that growth and change, was it hard to get the community on board with, the magnet program, or were you and your team able to just really get that in there and going?
I thought we really were able to get it going. And a lot of it is that parents want choice. And so when you offer a magnet school and you're going to tell them, you're telling them that you'll provide the transportation, and that if they choose this, but they have to know, very much know that that there's one particular topic that is going to be emphasized. And whether that's technology, or whether it's the arts, or whether it's, math or languages. So we had a lot of work to do in that regard. We had to decide, what it was that we thought parents would want, because they do want choices.
Oh, sure. Of course.
And it's not that the public schools don't offer that. They absolutely do. And they're wonderful schools for many, many children, and for parents as well. But, we were in a position where we needed to start and continue to compete with charter schools.
Oh, sure. Sure.
Even though in most cases we weren't too excited about charter schools, not because they took money away from our district, which they did, and students, which of course is it, but because we didn't think it was very well managed.
Yeah. And that was that. I would say that's the early days.
That's
they've
exactly
come so
right.
far. We have so many, the Idaho Public
sure.
Charter School Commission and Bloom organization to help charter schools. But it really was kind of that Wild West when everything was getting started.
Because they didn't have the oversight from the State Department initially.
Yes.
They just went ahead and said, okay, you can do that. As a set of parents, you can decide. And I have to tell a story about a group that came into the board. And I would think I was an assistant superintendent at the time. But they came in and said they wanted to start this charter school. And they showed us the boundaries. And what they had done is they had drawn the boundaries in their neighborhood that encompassed it. It was like a snake.
Oh, gosh. Gosh.
They just went around and they included people that were either in their church or in whatever that happened to be. And so the first thing the board did, and I was really proud of the board, because they just said, well, first of all, you're going to have to go back and take a look at your boundaries, because we're not going to approve this charter school with those boundaries, because you've picked and chose.
Right.
And at the time, school boards had the right to say we're not going to authorize that charter school. That's not the case anymore.
Sure.
It's the State Department that does that.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine, you alluded to growth earlier.
Yeah.
The growth that you saw. How did the community change over the course of your 34 years? And the growth, I can't even imagine. What was all that like?
Well, the biggest issue with growth was that we didn't have a way to handle, their being in the school. We didn't have the facilities that could accommodate that growth. And so we were doing a lot of work trying to change bus routes that would take children to different schools that had maybe a little bit more room, but pretty soon they filled up as well. So it really then required us to say, we've got to build more schools.
Right.
And
which is such an easy task, right?
Yeah. Just go to bond or levy. And
if you ask me, one of the worst part of being in the superintendent's role, it is the night that bond is going to work. Even going to tell us that it either passed or it didn't. And that that was terrible. But actually, that's what we had to do. We had to change boundaries. That hurts. Parents don't like the boundaries being changed. They don't want to leave the school that their children have started in first grade or kindergarten. It's a constant work on the part of not just administration, but of all of the people in the district that are working with kids.
Takes a team.
It
takes a huge team. Yeah.
And so that was one of the biggest challenges we had in terms of growth, was providing the facilities and providing the opportunity for all of them to really want to be where they wanted to be, which didn't always happen.
Yeah. And it's interesting how some things never change, right? You talk about growth during your 34 years, and we've had exponential growth just over the last 5 years. And the struggles are still the same, trying to get the funding to build those schools and boundaries. It's the same thing we're struggling with today.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to end when you've got this kind of economy and this kind of community.
Yes.
We're not any longer a community of farms and livestock.
Right.
We're a community of neighborhoods.
Yes.
And with lots of children.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure that we're have the ability to do what we need to do to provide for their education.
Yeah. I think about that. My husband grew up in West Boise, and he says in the 80s and 90s when he was a kid, West Boise and Meridian didn't even touch. It wasn't this blending that they are, just kind of the same now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, okay, so my background's journalism, and in journalism, you never bury the lead. So I buried the lead here. But because, the obvious question for you, Christine, having the Christine Donnell School of the Arts, having that school named after you. Katie said, hey, we're here with a legend. That's got to be kind of cool. What was it like when that school was named after you?
Well, it was a huge surprise, first of all, because I had announced my retirement.
Oh, sure.
My board knew that I was going to retire. I had a public relations person on my team who I kept saying to, and it was Eric Exline. I got to say his name.
Well, Eric was here for a long time.
Oh, yeah,
God,
absolutely.
he was just one of the best. And I would say, Eric, what are we going to name that school? I mean, we had decided we were going to do this magnet school, and it was going to have a focus on arts because the curriculum people had been working on every way that they could to wrap art in every subject matter. So it's a task.
Oh, I'm sure.
And,
Yeah.
And I'd say, what are we going? I went online a couple times and I looked at Da Vinci and Michelangelo and these artsy kind of
those little names.
Yeah,
sure.
And he'd looked at me and he'd say, Christine, don't worry about it. I'm working on it. Don't worry. And I trusted him. I truly did. I said, okay,
that.
Eric, if you're working on it, but we've really got to name that school. We need to. And so
Sure.
So I have to tell this story, and I apologize for it being kind of a long one.
No worries.
But I had told my staff, and I wasn't a mean superintendent. I was really...
You strike me as a real mean person, Christine.
Right. No, I wasn't.
No, I'm sure. Yes,
I know. And I would say to them, though, don't surprise me with anything.
Sure.
If you've got something that you want to bring up in front of the board and have that on the agenda... and we would have a meeting prior to the board meeting. My team would, that morning before it. And I'd say, just let's go over the things that we need to have on this agenda. And so they would. I mean, they were faithful with it. I mean, they were just the greatest team. And so at the end of this one board meeting, and I'm ready to call it a meeting done.
Done.
We're
done.
Go home.
Let's go home. Yeah.
Exactly. And Eric got up in front of that board and he said, Mr. Chairman, there's just one other thing. And I looked at him and I thought, what?
What are we doing here?
He knows better than this. He knows
Don't surprise me.
better.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at him and he looks up and I could see that the board didn't seem to be baffled or surprised or anything like that. And he said, we'd like to make a recommendation which at the time it was Ridgewood, but we were building a new elementary school that was going to take a lot of the boundaries were going to change. So that many of those children were going to go to Pepperwood. And so it had been, Ridgewood at the time. And and he just said, we'd like to make a recommendation that Ridgewood will now be called, the Christine Donnell School of the Arts, because it was this new magnet concept. And it was the only time in my life I've been speechless. Honestly.
I love it.
And so that was how it came about. And it was greatest honor. It will be the greatest honor in my life.
That's cool.
It truly will be.
And what an honor for your family, too.
Oh, my dad was still alive at the time, which made it, and my husband was still with me and alive. And they were just amazed. They truly were. Nobody had warned them that I know of.
Yeah.
But my dad was.
That's really
special.
cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It was.
Well, and you kind of alluded to this. I mean, the arts in education, obviously the arts, it's so important.
It is.
What was your vision then? What's your vision now? I mean, why, I guess the question is, why do you see the arts as being so important?
Well, I've always loved the arts, but I can honestly tell you that I give most of the credit to Linda Clark, who followed me as the superintendent. And she, very artsy and very, she sings and she's so talented. And she and I had talked and she said, I just think that we should have a school. So it was really her.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about what topic. Could it be languages? Could it be math? Could it be whatever? And she said, I just want to say that I think the arts would be great. First of all, she was in charge of curriculum. All the curriculum directors reported to her.
Okay.
And she said, I'll get the curriculum worked out. You work at doing an addition to that school that will be a performing arts area.
That's
so
cool.
then
That's cool.
my role there, plus the support of the curriculum and the arts, was to make sure we had a good performing arts center. And so my role was then to talk the board into saying, okay, yes, we'll add on to Ridgewood at the time and make this special auditorium.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It was.
Well, and then it must feel really, life is such a fun journey. And this must feel real, like culminating in being here to celebrate 75 years of West Ada. And you were such a big part of that. What does that feel? Does it have special significance to you that here we are as a district celebrating 75 years?
Yes, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. It's truly unbelievable. Because when I first came to Meridian, I really didn't think, well, I'm going to be here just about all my life.
Oh, sure. No one ever thinks that way. Sure.
Heavens, no. So to watch it grow the way it has, to watch it evolve into what I think is the best district anywhere. I'm not even going to say the state or anything. I'm not going to have anybody
no
challenge me on that. I'm just going to say it's the best school district anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll continue to be.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Go to YouTube, search West Ada School District, and like and subscribe today.
Christine, you retired, about 21 years ago, but that didn't stop your service. I feel like you've still been really actively involved in helping. Yeah. What are some things that you've done in kind of the education world since you retired?
I was involved with the foundation.
The Education
Of course,
Foundation.
The Education Foundation.
Yeah.
I had been asked to be part of that as the superintendent, and so I was certainly involved in the fundraisers that they had.
Right.
And I was also part of the chamber, and so there was, that.
Yeah.
You're really asked a lot about education,
Sure.
when you're in these kind of public roles, So that I went on after I retired to actually worked in Middleton as an assistant superintendent.
Oh, they must have been just like out of their minds, happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were. Some of them were.
Oh.
The ones that hired me were. But
Sure.
some of them, they didn't want the big district coming in and telling a little district what to do.
Oh, that's fair. I could see that. Sure.
But I was only working just part-time. At the time, you couldn't, you would actually jeopardize your
Percy,
retire,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the time. But then one of the elementary principals was pregnant and was going to leave for a while, and so the superintendent asked if I would be the principal at that school, elementary school. I was back. I was just like a heyday, it was just marvelous. So I did that, and then I was asked to be a executive director for a business group that is still in operation today. The Idaho Business Association for Educational Opportunity or something like that.
Sure.
You'd have to look it up.
I can look it up.
It
Sure.
was Skip Oppenheimer was the head of that, and so they asked if I would be their. What did they call me? Oh, it was just their.
Like executive
Liaison
director or something?
It was executive directors, what they called it. Of course, I had to negotiate a little bit more pay than what they were willing to pay me. But what I did is that I really worked with a lot of those business people because I was kind of the one that knew a little bit about education.
Sure.
And they were all supportive of it. So I did that for a while. And then it was time to kind of move on, and the Idaho School Boards Association contacted me and asked if I would be a consultant to work with school boards to choose a superintendent. So I went all over. I went to Pocatello and Eastern Idaho. Rexburg, and then I went up north in a couple of districts, smaller districts that just said we need the help to see what we need to do to hire a good superintendent.
Sure.
And so I set up, interview questions, and I just worked with these boards, and I loved every minute of that.
See, no one's going to let a great educator retire. You tried to retire in 2004.
But then after that, the traveling got to be kind of a lot.
Oh, sure.
Because I was on the road a lot. And so then I said, I think it's just time to have fun.
Yeah, fun is good.
Yeah.
Fun is good.
It was.
Well, and listen, I'm not blowing sunshine at you, but I mean, you've seen so much. I mean, you have so much wisdom, especially in the educational realm. What are some of the things that when you look across the landscape in 2025, what are some of the issues that you see facing education that need to be addressed? What would you say to a question that broad?
Number one, school vouchers, private schools. I mean, that to me is so dangerous in our country. I mean, we know the 14th Amendment had to do with making sure that segregation wasn't an issue anymore, that our forefathers said, you know, that it was school for everyone. Yeah. Well, I think public school is a school for everyone. And when you begin to take money and put it into private schools that have not the oversight that I think that public schools do and should have, then I think we're in trouble. Yeah. And I fear that that's going to be a real issue as we go forward. Yeah,
as we move forward this year with that.
I appreciate you not pulling any punches. That's, big time.
I don't.
Big time. That's not who you are.
It's not who I am.
Well, I kind of already asked you earlier about, advice that you might have to teachers. But again, you were a leader for a lot of years. What advice would you give to leaders in West Ada? Maybe even just leaders. I mean, I'm sure there are parents out there watching that are business. What advice would you give on that realm of things? When you're managing people, when you're managing bonds and levies and issues, what would you say in that realm?
That's rather easy, actually, because what I would tell them is to believe their children and pay attention to what their talents are and help them to really be able to articulate what it is that they love. And that's what education's all about, isn't it?
Yes,
it's that we say we're going to teach you a certain amount of things that you're going to need when you do that, but you have to have a passion for what it is that you want to do and what you like to do. That's what's going to make you a success. And that's what I really believe in. And I'll tell you this real quick story. And that's, I had a young man who was brought into my office when I was the principal at Lowell Scott. Yeah. The assistant principals had just had it with him. He was a hard guy in the classroom.
His
gave
name was
teachers.
Brian Rodenbach.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. He's kidding, not my husband.
Might have been. And I mean, he'd gone through, several kinds of punishments.
Sure, just at wit's end. Sure.
And they had just had it. So he came to my office, and I invited the parents to come. If I was going to deal with this young man, I was going to also have the parents there.
Heck yeah.
So they came, and I said to them, and they're just looking at me like, you could tell they had been sent to the principal's or the office a lot. And I said, first of all, don't care about that. They looked at me like, what? And I said, support this young man. He has the drive, the confidence. Now, he may be acting out, and he shouldn't be going against, the rules and all of that. But I said he's independent, and he's going to be probably a huge success. So support him.
And the parents were probably had to pick their jaws up off the floor.
Well, the mother broke into tears.
Oh, wow.
The dad was looking like, I can't believe you're saying this. And I'm just saying, trust me. This is what your boy needs. He needs your support, and he needs for you to believe in him.
Love that. I love that. That's huge.
It's interesting how so much of education and parenting commingle.
Oh, sure.
So the principles of good parenting are the same principles of good education and just really loving people and serving them well.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, it almost feels like that answer is a great segue into this, but I mean, And I'm sure it's probably impossible to think over 34 years, but is there anything that you look back on and you're like, oh, that brings me so much joy, or that brings me so much satisfaction? Can you even pinpoint one or two things when you look back and that brings you that kind of joy?
I can remember one that really brought me a lot of joy, and that was when the first bond passed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm standing at the district office and with my fingers crossed and thinking, oh my gosh, have we done everything we need to do to get this bond passed? Because we needed so badly to build schools. And so, that was a joy. Believe me, that was a joy.
Big celebration.
Sure.
The other thing that was a joy is I was really involved in the building of Mountain View High School.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember the architect showing me, I don't know what they have. They have these
like renderings
boards.
and,
they want to show you the
architectural-
kind of stuff that they're going to put in there. And I thought the brick was horrible. I thought it was so ugly. And I said to this one architect, and if he's listening to this would be funny, really. And I'd say, no, he said, Christine, trust me. When that gets up there, when it really gets up there, you're going to love it. Yeah, you're going to love it. And I said, you better promise me that I am, because and I did.
Oh, wow.
I did. It was, and that was a joy. Believe me, that was a joy. I'm going, it's almost like.
Oh, you're holding your breath. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
There's
funny.
that ugly school, Christine Donnell.
Well, as
Mountain View's beautiful.
Both of my kids graduated from Mountain View, so I loved it. So
It's a beautiful
school.
Beautiful school.
Great school, great teachers, all of it. Yeah, it was a great place for my kids for sure. Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
But I can still see that architect, and he's just like going.
I bet he was sweating. Yeah.
I think he was. I was really involved in the buildings of the school, in building the school. I didn't walk away and just say, well, you do it. And I mean, I really was involved.
That's great leadership.
Yeah.
You got to be involved. I love that. Yeah.
Is there something, you probably know our district better than anyone? Is there something or some ethos about our community and our district that just really captures the spirit of West Ada?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, it is a
that's
hard
pretty
question.
ethereal. Yeah.
No, it is a really hard question. I don't, the fact that we've gone from this agricultural community to one that's, that's sophisticated and involved and caring about what kind of education their children are going to get.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Well, it comes back to kids, don't you think? I mean, what you said
It's
earlier
all
about
that.
loving kids and meeting them.
It's all that. It's recognizing their talents. And because we all have talents. Some of them are not very good talents. Well,
why are you looking at me when you say that?
Did I? It's not that they're not good. They're just maybe not what we want them to have. But you have to recognize your children's talents and then concentrate on that with them, and encourage them. And so, but overall, the district has just grown into an incredible institution. I mean, to see it when I first came and these small little elementary schools and not very many of them. And during the time that I was the superintendent, there were 13 new schools built.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
13.
How many balls were you juggling? I mean, I can't
A lot.
imagine.
A lot. 13 in those 6 years.
Wow.
That is a lot.
That's a lot going on.
Now, I better clarify that. So maybe, but I remember sending to the clerk of the board, Trish, who was the clerk at the time, and I said, how many schools have we built during this time? And she said 13, and she named them.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And she said, well, some of those I think we did some additions to, or something. But
That's
isn't
impressive.
that something?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, it's actually remarkable.
It really is.
And we're still doing great things and have more great things to come.
Exactly.
Right?
And so much of it really has to do with the people that we surround ourselves with and their talents and their abilities, truly, but really their willingness to work with you. And I had wonderful, I wouldn't have been the success that I was without the team that I had.
Spoken like a true leader.
Well, Christine, it is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come in here and just chat with us. Before we say goodbye, is there anything that we haven't covered that you're like, hey, Ken, Katie, we should have talked about X, or did we get there?
No, some of the stories I'll tell them not on this podcast.
Okay, fair. I like that. I like that idea. Oh, well, it's a pleasure
Because I
having you
have
here.
a ton. Well, it was my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, I just can't get over. I mean, you hear names like Lowell Scott and Christine Donnell, and you can think, oh my gosh, so that's the.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
You forget that these are real people with real stories, and wasn't she amazing?
Oh, absolutely, and just the knowledge she has, and her willingness to share. It's really fun. It's special.
Yeah, it was great to have her here, and as always, it's so exciting and wonderful to have you here as well. We are looking forward to another great school year and all the different topics that we're going to be discussing. For the podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Google, or Amazon. If you listen on iTunes, please rate us and leave a review. You can always watch, if you like to watch podcasts, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe there as well. And to learn more, you can listen to past episodes at westada.org/podcast. And as always, we want to get our viewers involved as well.
We want to hear from you. So if you have a fun fact, a great memory, something really special, a piece of history of West Ada, share it with us. We'd love to hear about your experiences and the things that have made West Ada special to you. So
yeah, and we're even going to have a special group on Facebook this year to be able to share memories, and so we want to hear from you all. What's your memory of West Ada? You can
email us at communicate@westada.org, right?
Yeah,
or they can comment on our Facebook group. So we'll make sure we have that information out there for the special 75th year anniversary Facebook group. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another episode coming up in a couple of weeks on August 25th. We're talking paraprofessionals.
If you've ever wondered what a paraprofessional, sometimes they call them paras or classroom aides, but what a paraprofessional does and how valuable they are to our whole education system. We're talking to two awesome paras on that upcoming episode.
Trisha Hendrickson will be there.
She's Rocky Mountain High School para, and Kelly Brownholtz is a paraprofessional at Sawtooth Middle School, and so they'll bring a wealth of information too.
Well, and it's just one of those cool things. I don't know if you're sitting out there thinking about, like, golly, how could I get involved or be a part of a bigger part of education in West Ada? These two amazing women are going to be a great conversation as well. Yeah.
Come love where you work, just like we do.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us as always. We love having you here, and can't wait to see you again soon.